Pathetic if you think a stage kiss means you should be together. She looked super embarrassed and walked away, and I later heard she'd gone home crying. I feel like a because she's obviously insecure and whatnot, and her friends haven't stopped calling me a since. Am I the asshole? Edit. She 100% knows that I'm his girlfriend. I have heard her talking about me being his girlfriend before. Not the asshole. She took it way too far. Approaching him about it was out of line. Not the asshole. She was delusional, and you brought her back down to earth. Needed to happen. You tried to ignore it, but she kept pushing. Everyone sucks here. This entire thing is very teen. Hopefully you'll both grow out of it soon. Everybody sucks here. You're teenage drama students, so I guess I shouldn't be surprised that there's so much teenage drama here. But come on. You couldn't think of a more appropriate way to address this woman's relentless and obvious daily pursuit of your boyfriend over the course of weeks, if not months, than shouting at her at a party in order to humiliate her? You couldn't, I don't know, at any time just say, hey, I don't know if you realize, but boyfriend and I are in a committed relationship. You all need to grow up. Yeah, probably everybody does suck here. Definitely didn't have to take it that far. I know Victoria is definitely in the wrong, but so are you. Am I wrong for using flashcards to explain to my brother and his wife why they can't bring their rainbow baby to my wedding? Am I the a-hole for refusing to tell my husband the gender of our baby after he skipped going to the doctor's appointment with me? Am I the bad guy for walking out of the airport when I saw my husband's mom standing there with her luggage? I, F30, don't have the best relationship with my husband's mom. Since day one, she tried to make remarks and compare me to her. She then tried to get on my good side and started overly praising everything I do, and sometimes even copying me, like that one time when she literally dyed her hair purple, just like mine. And when everyone pointed out how ridiculous she looked, she actually blamed me and accused me of trying to make a joke out of her. So, anyways, my husband and I took 2 weeks off work to go visit some places out of the country. Tourism, in other words. Thing is, I was the one who saved up for and arranged for the trip. My husband was responsible for booking the tickets. My husband's mom wanted to come along and threw temper tantrums when I said no. She called, texted, sent people to talk to me into letting her come, even threatened to call the police and make some complaint up to get us to stay if she can't come. My husband said we should just take her, but I told him he was wrong to tell her about the trip in the first place. He gave me an ultimatum, said he wouldn't go if she can't come, and I told him I'd gladly call his bluff, which made him take his words back and say, fine, I will tell her to stop it because we won't take her. Things got quieter, suspiciously quieter. The day of the trip came and we got to the airport at 2 p.m. My husband was walking ahead of me and was looking left and right like he was looking for someone. I asked him, but he didn't respond. He led me into the waiting area, and first thing I saw was his mom standing there with her luggage. I froze in my spot. I felt a cold wave washing over me, and I was fuming inside. She and my husband were hugging. That's when I quietly turned around and started walking towards the exit. My husband followed me while shouting at me to stop. He tried to stop me, but I told him off the harshest way possible. He tried to say that I was overreacting, and that his mom was there anyway, and I should let it go and not mess the trip up for us. I told him that he and his mom could still go, and that I was going home. I went home and sobbed into my dog's fur for several minutes. Turned out he booked her a ticket without me knowing. An hour later, he came home yelling and raging about how pathetic and spiteful I was to walk out and go home and ruin the trip last minute. I told him he caused this to happen. He said that I was being so hard on his mom, it's ridiculous. I refused to fight anymore, but he kept on berating me and then called my family to tell them that the trip was canceled and that it was because of me. My family said that I shouldn't have ruined it for myself and should have sucked it up and done my best to enjoy. Did I really overreact? You're married to a man who was already married to his mother. You're the other woman. She was planning on sharing the hotel room and bed with y'all too? Not the bad guy, and run. Not the bad guy. You actually helped him and his mom to have the romantic getaway they really wanted. I mean, plain and simple. You gotta leave this guy, because I wouldn't want, like, my spouse to have a weird relationship with their mother like that. I wouldn't want my spouse picking their mom over me in a situation like that. That's terrible. Not the bad guy. Am I in the wrong for storming off from my sister's wedding after she dead named my son? I'm a 45-year-old single father of 3. Their mom died 10 years ago. I have 3 sons, 17-year-old Andrew, 15-year-old Connor, and 14-year-old Max. Connor was born female. He is trans. He came out as trans 5 years ago and is now socially transitioned, not yet physically. My sister, 38F, just got married. Me and my sons were also invited. My family has known that Connor is trans for 2 years now. Some have adjusted well and some not so much. My sister is pretty indifferent about it. Her wedding was super well organized to the last detail. She wanted all the men to wear shirt and tie and then women sundresses. I texted her a picture of our outfits the day before the wedding and she said, "Where's Naya's dress?" I was a bit surprised and I told her not to dead name my son and that he'll be wearing a shirt and tie like the rest of the men there or we aren't coming. She said fine, and that was it. At the reception, my sister got mad that Connor was wearing a tie, but didn't say much after that. When we sat down at our table, the card Naya, I went to my sister and she said she used their real name. I told her me and the boys are leaving and she told me, "Don't you dare cause a scene at my wedding. Naya can be a guy any other day." I called her a bigot and we left. My family says I ruined her wedding. With an attitude like that, I'm sure the sister sister will be a bride again before long, so ruining this wedding was no big issue. You stood up for your kid. That makes you a wonderful parent. Definitely not in the wrong. Yeah, I mean, how could you be in the wrong here for standing up for your trans son? Like, that's gives me the freaking heebie-jeebies, man. Like, I am physically disgusted by that woman, you know? It's just gross. Trans rights, by the way. Am I the jerk for silently getting up and walking out of the restaurant during New Year's Eve dinner after I was told to pay for everyone at the table? My in-laws? I, F32, recently inherited a good amount of money from my mom. I keep the money in a separate account as I still haven't decided what to do with it, and I didn't want it to go to waste. I noticed my husband constantly bringing up the inheritance money and making countless suggestions as to how I should spend it. Another thing is that he expects me to pay for nearly everything the past couple weeks. For New Year's Eve, my husband and I met up with his family at a restaurant to celebrate. It was going fine until I found out that I was expected to pay for everyone at the table. My husband's mom joked about paying for dinner out of my inheritance pocket, which made me livid, but I showed no reaction. Just silently paid for my own food and drinks, then got up and made my way out of the restaurant. They were shouting after me like a crowd, and my husband tried to get me to come back, but I drove home. He got back at 3 a.m. yelling at me, saying I was pathetic to get up and walk out on him and his family after they relied on me to pay for their food, and thought I was gracious enough to do it, but they were wrong. He said I humiliated him and family, and that what I did was an attempt to get back at them for not being able to help mom when she was sick. Not true is all I'm gonna say. He is mad and is saying that I caused a huge rift between his family and me, when it wouldn't have hurt me to pay for the celebratory dinner. Am I the jerk? So let me get this straight. Your mother died after an illness, and the thing your in-laws take from this is great. Now she can pay for everything. Yeah, not the jerk. They act like you won the lottery and not buried your mother. I'm sorry for your loss. Oh, in-laws, in-laws, in-laws. So many horror stories about the in-laws. Why are older adults so bad? Why are old people so wrong? Am I in the wrong for switching to regular milk to prove my lactose intolerant roommate keeps stealing from me? Me and two other guys share an apartment together and we split all the bills. The only thing we don't split costs on is groceries. Everyone is in charge of buying their own food and we don't touch whatever doesn't belong to us in the fridge. We put our names on everything so no one gets mixed up. The issue has been going on almost a year and I'm sick of it. One of my roommates, R, keeps stealing my food. I get home from work and containers with my leftovers are sometimes missing. They have my name written on it. Or my stuff finishes too quick. A gallon of milk, for example. I buy almond milk because I like taste, but it seems to finish after a week even though I've only drank once or twice. I confronted R about this lots of times and that's caused a lot of arguments. He outright denies it and tells me I'm crazy even though it's so obvious. My other roommate and I carpool together because we both work the same early morning shifts around the same area, so I know it's not him. It's always after we get back home and R's already left for work that I notice my food's gone. My roommate also had a similar problem, but not as often as I do. I'm guessing because R doesn't like what he buys. The funny thing is, R buys a lot for himself and is even more stingy about his food. He will literally point out what's his when he comes back from grocery shopping and tell us not to touch it. Last week, my milk was nearly empty again and I got fed up. I went to the liquor store and bought regular dairy milk. I drank what was left of my almond milk and refilled the gallon with the one I bought. This was to catch/prove R is the one stealing since he's lactose intolerant. The next day, Saturday, we get back from work and R is pissed. He yelled at me that he was stuck in the bathroom for 40 minutes with diarrhea because of my milk. He was using it to make a shake. I only responded, so then you're the one who's been stealing. He freaking exploded. Yeah, he admitted he sometimes was drinking my milk and eating my food, but he was more mad that I switched milks than the fact that he was caught. I told him I wouldn't have done that if he'd just stopped taking my stuff from the fridge, or at least told the truth instead of trying to make it seem like I was making it up. My roommate backed me up and thought it was kind of funny he got payback for stealing from us. It's a little tense right now, and my roommate told me R is trying to convince him to agree to kick me out. Little does he know, we're both looking to move somewhere else because we're tired of his stuff. I told some buddies what happened, and a few think I was an a-hole for that. I feel like I'm not in the wrong here. He was taking my food and not even owning up to it, and I wanted to prove it. Does that make me the bad guy? Not the bad guy. As you said, if R wasn't stealing your food, he wouldn't have had a problem. Not the bad guy. There's a saying in Finnish that translates to greedy ones have a end. And I think that's what happened here. I agree. Like, how could you possibly be the bad guy in that situation? Your friends sound like bad friends. Am I in the wrong for giving my ex-wife a large amount of money I won despite the anger of my girlfriend? I recently won a FU amount of money. I won't say exactly how much, but it's in the millions. It makes me feel funny, even typing. It's enough to change the life of myself and my family. My ex-wife is the mother of my 2 kids. She's an amazing woman and good to the bone. We divorced 6 years ago because I had an affair with my current partner. I was in a low place in my life and I messed up. She was in incredible pain, but like a freaking saint, she allowed me to still see our kids, who mean the world to me. Allowed our divorce to be as pain-free as possible, despite the fact that I know she was hurting. She still is close friends with my parents. She is respectful to me, although she refuses to talk to my girlfriend. She was actually the first person I phoned after my mom and pops after I found out I won the lottery. She was pleased for me, joked that I could take kids on a world-round trip, and that was that. Nothing else. As soon as I won, I knew I wanted to give her a significant amount. I still love her. She's the mother of my babies, and I feel like this is some small tiny way I can show her that I'm not a complete mess up. She deserves to know that I care despite my mistakes. She also works a bad job in the public library, which pays her peanuts. she would actually be able to pursue her hobbies this way. Give her kids a better life between us. I haven't discussed this with my ex yet, but I have with my parents who strongly agree and my lawyer who was very surprised but on board. Long story short, when I told my girlfriend, she was livid, screaming that I'm disrespecting her, accused me of still being in love with my ex-wife. I'm not in love with her. We've both grown apart, but of course, I still love her for being an excellent co-parenting partner and mother to my kids. My GF is threatening to break up with me, and TBH, I'm feeling incredibly relieved over the threats. I don't plan on changing my plans, but am I in the wrong? Not in the wrong. Your money, your decision. I suspect the anger from your GF is probably just insecurity given the nature of how your relationship with her started, or it could be because of the money. It could be both. Seems like that GF of yours is either a gold digger or just a bad person, or both. Am I bad for kicking out one of my bridesmaids for showing up in the wrong dress? My 23F wedding was back on Saturday, December 31st, and I'm still getting backlash from this. So I want to know if this was an a-hole move. In the country I live in, it's currently winter, and we get a fair amount of snow, so my wedding was a winter-themed wedding. The color theme was forest green and gold. My dress was obviously white, and I chose the color of my bridemaid's dress to be forest green as well. My maid of honor's dress was black, and everyone was to wear gold accessories. I have this friend, we'll call her Kat, that I asked to be one of my bridesmaids. When we went dress shopping and I told them the color theme I was going for, Kat immediately expressed that she thought forest green was a bad choice. She said that she thinks it's not a flattering color, and I thought I should choose something different and more girly. I said no, because my wedding was winter themed, and I thought the color would go perfect with the theme. She suggested a blue, pink, or even red. I said no, but thanks for your opinion. She found out my maid of honor's dress was black and asked if she could wear black too. I said no, only my maid of honor is wearing black. I paid for all the dresses. Fast forward to wedding day and everyone's getting their hair and makeup done, and Kat shows up 30 minutes late, holding a bag that looked like it had a dress inside. I asked her what this was for. She told me it was for later on at the reception if she got uncomfortable and wanted to change after pictures. I was like, okay, cool. So fast forward, we're all dressed and walking down the stairs because the ceremony is beginning in 30 minutes, and we were going to take some pictures before. Kat is the last person to come down, and she's wearing a black dress. At the time, I was preoccupied taking pictures with my parents, but my maid of honor came over to me and made me aware of the situation. I confronted Kat and asked her what was going on. She said she hates her bridesmaid dress, as the color is ugly and makes her look gross, so she's wearing black. I told her please go back and change. She refused and started walking away from me. I said, I'm going to ask her one more time, and if she doesn't oblige, I'm calling security and kicking her out. She began yelling at me to F off, so I called security and asked them to please escort her out. She started making a big scene, yelling about how I'm such a that I can't force her to wear anything, and that I'm a horrible, inconsiderate friend. The wedding went on, and it was truly amazing. Ever since the wedding, Kat has been blowing up my phone with texts, saying some really nasty things, and asking for the money back she spent on the black dress, since it was a waste and she didn't get to wear it. I had to block her number. Some of my other bridesmaids have been giving me crap, saying that it was a little harsh kicking her out and embarrassing her like that, and that maybe I should give her the money back. Am I wrong for kicking her out? Not wrong. You paid for her dress. She decided to do her own thing. Is she gonna pay you back for the money you spent on her? Not in the wrong. You paid for the dress. She agreed to be your bridesmaid, knowing that the dress was forest green. She was a jerk here and so rude. Telling it as it is. I mean, for sure. For sure. She is so in the wrong, and that is abysmal. Abysmal behavior from a friend. Someone who is good enough of a friend to be a bridesmaid. Am I the a-hole for not letting my best friend have her wedding on my property after being uninvited? One of my 29M best friends, Carla, 31F, is getting married soon. It's only meant to be a small backyard type of wedding, but they've been planning it for a few months now, and originally it was supposed to be on my property. They wanted it because it's private, has lots of open space for the reception, a nice view, and the house could be used for them to get ready and stuff. I said yes. She and her fiance Rick were very happy. Thing is, Carla and I do have a history. We went out on and off in college, but decided to stay friends. Then I met my wife. We got married. Carla met Rick, and now here they are. Now, my wife knows I went out with Carla back in college, and she didn't care. Carla still went to our wedding and everything. I never knew if Rick was told or not. It's not my relationship, therefore not my business to say anything, so I never did. Rick found out recently, and not in the best way. Not sure how, but from what I heard from friends is that one mutual friend told him, no idea why, we used to date. Not only that, but apparently Carla said a couple years ago she was still in love with me, and when she was already dating Rick. Don't have actual confirmation if that's exactly what he was told. All Carla's told me is that Rick was told about our past, and he's angry at her for never saying anything. It became quite a drama, and didn't hear from her for over a month until now. She told me they're going to couples counseling, and that the wedding is still on, but Rick requested that I not attend. It sucks, but I totally get why he wouldn't be comfortable. Then I asked the obvious question, where are they going to hold the wedding then? To my surprise, she said they still want it at our place. Rick said so too, and in my mind, I'm going, he doesn't want the guy who dated his fiance years ago at the wedding, but still wants the wedding at his house? My wife and I are expected to just not be at our home that weekend, and I told Carla no. They're gonna have to find someplace else since we're not going to simply leave our home to them for the weekend. Not only for safety reasons, but it just doesn't make sense. Rick doesn't want me around because he's not comfortable, but is comfortable enough to have their wedding at my house? They really want their wedding here, though, and because of that, I've been bugged by not only her, but also Rick and some friends who think I'm being a petty a-hole for not letting them have the wedding here anymore. Honestly, don't think that I am. It just doesn't make sense at all to have to leave our own place for a wedding we're no longer welcome to and leaving our home totally vulnerable. Still, being accused of sabotaging their wedding, and Rick believes it's the least I can do after everything.